1.
Okay, committee members, thank you for bearing with me. I hope you can hear me now. We've had some technical difficulties here, but let's get started by calling the roll. Council Lady Allen, if you're present, will you unmute and say here, please?
Here.
Thank you. Council Lady Benedict, are you present?
Yes, present.
Thank you. Councilman Bradford.
Present.
Thank you. Councilwoman Evans. Councilwoman Evans, are you present? Councilwoman Gamble.
Present.
Is that Councilwoman Gamble?
Yes, I'm present. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Councilman Hall. Councilman Hall, are you present? Councilwoman Hurt.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Council Lady. Councilman Nash, are you present? Councilman Nash, are you present? Councilman O'Connell. Councilman O'Connell, are you present? Councilman Roten. Councilman Roten, are you present? Councilman Young, are you present?
I am present.
Thank you, Councilman Young. Alrighty, just for the viewing public, I know we have Councilwoman Evans, are you present?
Yes, I just joined. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know for the viewing public, I think several council members are, much like many of our Nashvillians, unfortunately, without power at this time. I have come down to the council office to run this meeting because I do not have power at home. So for those council members not present, it is likely that they are having the same difficulty. Seeing a quorum, we'll move ahead into our agenda. Vice Chair Young, could I get you to make this motion that is the beginning of the chair's report that is pursuant to Governor Lee's executive order, please?
Yes, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes the essential business of the Metropolitan Council, and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So moved. Now, moving down our agenda into staff reports. Staff, this is not required. I do see Ms. Stone on the call with the Public Works Department. As I'm sure we're all aware, our Public Works staff has been out all through the evening and all throughout today dealing with these microburst storms and cleaning up trees out of the public right-of-way. I don't know, Ms. Stone, if there is anything you want to share with the public or the committee in that regard. If so, please do unmute and share a brief staff report.
Hi there. We have been out for all day today and late last night cleaning up tree debris, working in close coordination with NES. There is still a lot of work to be done, and hopefully we don't encounter more severe weather tonight. But as of about 5 or 6 o'clock last night, we had 8 crews working through the night, getting tree limbs out of the street, trying to get roads reopened safely. We do anticipate that the work will continue this evening and into the coming days. So if you have constituents who have trees blocking roadways, we do encourage them to call 311, make sure that those get cleared out of the way. And if you have residents who have debris in their yard, we encourage you to ask them to move that to the curb. We are right now running our regular brush routes. We have put that on Facebook and on our Twitter page. that information lives on the Public Works website, but we've tweeted out the link and posted the link to that schedule on Facebook. So encourage residents to look at that, see when their next brush pickup is scheduled for. And right now we are not scheduling any additional brush collection.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stone. And can you clarify for the public, because I know for some, really their phone is their only access right now. They don't have internet access. The hours for 311, if someone were to call 311 after close of business, are they able to reach someone, or do they leave a message? How does 311 work? What are those hours, please?
So 311 after hours will roll over to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and those calls will be taken and dispatched from there.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you. Councilman O'Connell, I believe I see you on the call now. Are you present? Councilman O'Connell, are you present? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Stone, and please share our committee's appreciation with the Public Works Department for all they do every day, but also especially in these really acute storm events in our public right-of-way. So we're grateful. Thank you. Water Department, does anyone from water staff have a report to give? If so, you may unmute. Mr. Honeysucker, I see you on the call. Do you have anything to share from the Water Department?
Yes. Good afternoon, Councilor Chair. Just first thing, your microphone is breaking up extremely bad. You can only hear every other word. But we have no reports from Metro Water. All the water products is safe and ready to drink. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I will share the technical difficulty. I've gotten some feedback from internal to the office, and they say they are hearing me okay.
Madam Chair, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't somehow just did not meet. I did not expect Public Works to be on Monday.
Same. I hear you, sir. It's unusual, but you are noted as present. Thank you. Okay, I do not believe we have any guests in our meeting aside from staff that I see from Public Works and Water. As you all will recall, we have already addressed the waste management recycling contract on a previous committee agenda. And so I wanted to thank Council Lady Allen for hosting a solid waste and recycling subcommittee meeting on Thursday last. You all will have in your inbox this afternoon, just about an hour ago, I believe, from Ms. Cal, a link to our new Public Works Committee SharePoint or OneDrive, I guess you would call it. So that's basically our digital file cabinet for all things pertaining to Public Works and legislation. And so look for that link, and I'll be sending you another communication tomorrow with a message from Council Lady Allen. You can see the PowerPoint presentation that Sharon Smith gave to the subcommittee on Thursday. There's information from Waste Management, from various folks regarding that contract. And so if you have an interest in recycling, that legislation in particular, which will be on the agenda tomorrow evening, I would encourage you to go to our new SharePoint OneDrive and access that there. That will give us the ability, colleagues, as we have meetings, when we have matters that have a lot of kind of technical backup or a fair amount of emails or questions, rather than you all receiving emails variably from different people at different times, that information will go there to our digital file cabinet for your reference. So with that, that concludes our chair report and our staff reports. And so we will move right into our agenda. Okay, Resolution RS 2020 202 Mendez, Murphy, and others. Approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metro Department of Public Works. Signal maintenance for I-440. Traffic operational deployment of Blue Toad Extra Power. Councilman Young, please mute your mic, sir. Councilman Young, please, thank you. For signal maintenance for I-440, traffic operational deployment of Blue Toad Spectra Power over Ethernet data collection devices. We have a letter to approve from Councilman Mendez. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. That was actually preparing for what I moved it.
And I heard a second. Any discussion? If you would like to speak for discussion, please do raise your hand. And I'm going to have to ask Ms. Judd, who is moderating for us, once your hand is raised, to unmute your mic. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty again with the host and presenter distinctions and my ability to see raised hands and unmute mics. And so if you, I see Councilman O'Connell has raised his hand for discussion. I can see that because I also have a second laptop open where I can see the hands, but I cannot, I believe, unmute you. So I guess, Ms. Judd, I will just acknowledge the council member from what I can see. And you will unmute, or I guess they can unmute themselves. Councilman O'Connell, you are acknowledged.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know we've had an incredible amount of discussion on this item, and some late-breaking responses by our last meeting have satisfied, I think, all of the concerns that were preventing me from supporting this previously. So I'm prepared to go ahead and support this tonight.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate, thank you, throughout this process that we've discussed this. Councilman O'Connell, you've had a great series of questions. I appreciate staff's time in responding to those questions. And, you know, really kind of thinking through, I think we all recognize that this is a useful tool. And I think primarily our concerns were around data storage and privacy and so forth. And those are absolutely important concerns. So I do appreciate you in addressing those. Do we have any other folks seeking to be recognized? Okay, seeing none, folks, the way we will vote is I will ask for you to kind of unmute and say aye. If you are a nay, I would ask that you click your hand button, and then I will verbally acknowledge you as a nay or an abstention. So this is on 202, the Blue Toad Spectra Power traffic operational deployment. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Right, I'm looking at the queue. I am not seeing anybody with their hand raised to be acknowledged as a nay. Is anyone a nay?
I am. This is Councilmember Bradford.
Bradford, okay, Bradford is a nay. Anyone else wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or an abstention? Okay, seeing none, the committee recommends approval. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 in favor and 1 against. Okay, moving ahead on our agenda. We've got a little awkward line break here, but this is Resolution 2020-255 Virture. Requests various Metro government departments and agencies, Public Works among them, so that is why it's before us, to provide a comprehensive assessment of the capacity to deliver public services to the Antioch area of Davidson County. This was deferred, I believe, at last meeting. I am not aware of the action, if any, in Budget and Finance Committee. Mr. Cooper, can you speak to, before we have a motion here, what has transpired in Budget and Finance Committee particular to this legislation? Mr. Cooper, I believe I heard you speaking in your office here at the council office, but I did not hear you on the WebEx. Could you try again, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm pulling it up on the clerk's website to make sure, but I don't believe that one actually went to Budget and Finance.
Okay, so that was not, in our previous action on this was a deferral of one meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr.
Did not
Mr. Cooper, okay, did not go to Budget and Finance. Do you know, I know there were some questions just about kind of the cost and staff implications of, well, I apologize. So I guess colleagues, I was going to see if there was a deferral motion in our proceeding committee, and if so, was going to just go ahead and move that deferral. But not seeing that, do I have a motion for 255 requesting all our departments and agencies to assess the capacity in the Antioch area specifically? Do I have a motion?
I would like to indefinitely defer. I would move that.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Okay, so there is a motion for indefinite deferral and a second. Let's have discussion on the deferral motion. Is Council Lady Vercher, the sponsor of the bill, present in committee? Council Lady Vercher, are you present? Okay, not seeing Council Lady Vercher present. Would anyone like to speak on the motion of indefinite deferral? Councilman O'Connell, I see your hand raised, but I assume that was for the initial motion. Is that correct?
No, it's for this. I want to discuss why I moved
to speak on it. Okay, you're acknowledged. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think what I have learned from colleagues as we have discussed this is that, you know, this is what our metro departments are generally supposed to be doing. And, you know, if I guess what my sense is, and I say this representing a district that has grown an extraordinary amount over the previous term and until, you know, March seemed to be on pace to grow at a potentially similar rate over this term. We know that some metro departments are stretched, but, you know, I've got a project in District 19 where planning staff had advised me that it was probably going to be over a year before we had the capacity to do a corridor study. But, you know, I guess that's where I look at it and say, I know there are specific parts of districts all over this county that are growing. And what I've heard from colleagues after this resolution got filed is, you know, what is it? Is there something that is making the Southeast's, you know, growth characteristics more acute than other parts of the county? And I suspect that even by filing this resolution, Councilmember Vercher has probably, you know, drawn some attention to the idea that maybe even more than one council member representing that geography has concerns, but I'm not sure that it's going to be, this kind of reminds me of where we almost, you know, where we were considering doing a version of a, you know, a capital spending plan for a single council district a while back. And I don't think this is ultimately a time to fight over slices of that. I think generally the strategy that we ought to pursue as members, as district council members, looking out for one another is how can we support one another? And what this says to me is Southeast needs more than any other part of the community. And in talking to colleagues around the city, I'm not convinced that that is true. It is true that Southeast needs attention. It is also true that other parts of the city need attention. And we have systematically removed our ability to provide that attention over the past few fiscal years.
Okay, I appreciate that. Council Lady Allen, are you wishing to speak on the indefinite deferral motion?
Yes, Chair, I would like to.
You're acknowledged.
Okay, thank you. I had asked planning if they could just provide us some general information on growth in areas relative to the other, which I think is a useful piece of data, as Councilmember O'Connell has said that clearly Nashville is growing all over the place, and this is information that every district needs, and the request to specifically look at one district over the other, I think perhaps would be made if it were data driven. It would make more sense to say this is the area that's growing that much faster than all the others. I haven't gotten that response back from planning, and the response that I did get back simply was that it would take quite some time to gather that data, and that I think an indefinite deferral would allow them the time to either provide this information for all the districts as we need it, or at least to give some general idea of what the priority would be and what areas of Nashville they might attack first. I mean, I absolutely understand the need for knowing whether the infrastructure is going to keep up with that. But I mean, I think that, as Councilmember O'Connell has said, that's an issue in many parts of town, and that we can talk about what we think, but having data would make it a much better decision. And I think the indefinite deferral would give the planning department time to gather the data that would help us decide how we would allocate that. So I would support the deferral.
Okay, I appreciate that. Seeing no other hands raised for discussion on the motion. Oh, I apologize. Council Lady Hurt, your hand is raised. You are acknowledged.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. And I thank my colleagues for the information that they provided. And I do think that the data is very important. But what I've seen is that council members may file legislation when there has been neglect in their specific districts. So I think if we had information in regards to when certain activities have taken place in terms of the infrastructure, to help make the determination if this verifies the need for attention. Because I think that we know that there has been some disparity when it comes to certain communities. And I would imagine that this is what's prompted Councilwoman Virtue to file the legislation.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the committee wishing to be acknowledged regarding Resolution 2022-55? Oh, Ms. Gamble, Councilwoman Gamble, you are acknowledged.
Thank you. I just have I guess maybe a procedural question. So if we decide to defer indefinitely, can the sponsor come back? Is there a period that the sponsor has to wait to come back to address? Are we saying we're deferring until the Public Works Committee can gather data, or is there a time limit on that indefinite deferral?
There is not. And Mr. Cooper, could you explain kind of the technical side of an indefinite deferral and what that means for the sponsor?
So when something is deferred indefinitely, a sponsor can bring it back at any time by giving the clerk a week's notice before the meeting. So there is no, it could come back for the next meeting, or it could be 2 years from now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Looking through the queue to see if anyone else wishes to speak on the motion to defer this indefinitely. Seeing none, if you are in favor of the indefinite deferral, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
If you wish to vote nay, would you please click your raise hand button, and then I will call your name to affirm you as a nay vote. Okay, Councilwoman Hurt, are you a nay or an abstention?
Yes, I'm a nay.
Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Evans, are you a nay? Councilwoman, okay. So Council Lady Evans, I saw your hand raised, no longer. I will acknowledge you just for clarification. Do you wish to be a nay? Okay, Councilwoman Evans. All right, anyone else wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or an abstention on 255? Okay, seeing none, we recommend an indefinite deferral, 8 in favor, 1 against. Okay, moving on in our agenda, we are coming up to Resolution 2020-305, Rosenberg, Mendez, and others, approves a railroad agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation, the Metro Department of Public Works, and CSX Transportation, Inc. for the resurfacing and safety upgrades. I see it's Councilman Rosenberg. My assumption would be District 35 is where that is located. If I can get a motion, then I can have staff give us a specific location. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff, is there anyone who can tell us specifically where this location is and what will transpire with the resurfacing and safety upgrades? If a staff member can speak to that, they can raise their hand to be acknowledged, or at this time simply unmute to speak on this bill. This is Resolution 2020-305, Rosenberg, regarding TDOT and CSX.
This is Jeff Hammond with Public Works. I'll give you the information that I do have. I believe this is paving that is occurring on US 70 west of town. But this is a fairly run-of-the-mill process whereby when TDOT is doing their normal paving routine and they come within a certain distance of an at-grade railroad crossing, they automatically reach out to us and make some pretty basic crossing upgrades, refresh the striping, refresh the signing at those railroad crossing places. So it's simply a matter of the course of their paving project.
Okay, I appreciate that. We see quite a few of these coming through the committee. I think it's a good program. I know that we have spoken in the past about wanting to make sure that that in redoing the paving and the crossing, that sometimes we're needing to afford people the ability to walk more safely across these crossings, depending on where they are. Sometimes they are really kind of the only path out of the neighborhood by a street or so forth. So with that mentioned, let's see, Mr. Hammond, is it US 70 South or US Highway 70?
I would have to look back to provide the exact limits of the paving.
Okay, so if it doesn't say 70S, I would assume it's just US 70, and then you don't have the cross street specifically?
I do not.
Madam Chair, I have them if it would be helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Yes, please.
It's State Route 1, and that's US 70 from the Cheatham County line to just south of Harpeth Valley Road.
Okay, to Harpeth Valley Road. Okay, thank you. And then I would say to Public Works staff, if we could, it would be very helpful if we could get that just project limits information in our caption for the help of the public and the committee. Thank you, Mr. Cooper, for clarifying that. Okay. let's see, Mr. Cooper, I apologize, do we have a proper motion before us on this?
We have a motion, I believe, but we need a vote.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we weren't discussing without a motion already to approve. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? If so, please click your raise hand button. Seeing none, we recommend approval. 9 in favor, none against, 0 against. Okay, so now we are moving on to bills on second reading for discussion. Let's see. BL 2020-232, O'Connell, Murphy, and Henderson abandons a portion of alley number 146 right-of-way from Lafayette Street to Elm Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Councilman O'Connell, we put this back on discussion because last time, I believe there was a recommendation, there was a disapproval from Traffic and Parking Commission, and I wanted to afford you the time and to look into that further. So if you would like to be acknowledged to speak on this, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I checked with staff on this and confirmed this is land owned by the Convention Center Authority now, and I've spoken to WeGo Public Transit about this. The intent of this abandonment is to allow for basically a sort of southern side of the miniature transit hub. And so I understand the concern here, at least one commission member, was that we not completely lose an intact urban alley network. But I think in this particular case, the overall use that is planned specifically for this right-of-way abandonment has sufficient public utility that it's worth doing. And in fact, one, I wasn't there to participate in the vote, sadly, because of illness. 2, staff still think this is a good idea. I've spoken to staff at Public Works, I've spoken to the Convention Center Authority, and I've spoken to WeGo about this, and I think it is worth council considering this, and I intend to support this.
Okay, I appreciate that. And so just to understand then, WeGo does support this? Or WeGo Transit Authority does support that? Okay. And then lastly, do you know which commissioner voted against this?
Yes, I know it was a particular concern to Nora Kern, and I intend to speak with her. We played phone tag all day today, but I intend to speak with her before it comes to the floor tomorrow to get a better sense of it. And if I will say this too, if her concerns expressed cause me to have further concerns, I will seek another deferral for more clarification if need be.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think this is something that has come up in this committee several times before. I think as we look back historically, there are some alleys that have been abandoned in Nashville, specifically in the downtown area, that in hindsight or retrospect, we would not have abandoned. So I am hopeful that this committee will always be very conscientious of these abandonments because if they aren't necessarily good for cars, they could be good for pedestrians or cyclists or otherwise. So Councilman O'Connell, I appreciate your research on that. I appreciate you being in touch with Commissioner Kern and your willingness to hear her concerns and potentially defer this again at the larger meeting if needed. But with that, colleagues, let's see, is anybody else wishing to be acknowledged to speak on this matter? Okay, all in favor, please.
Aye.
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 Okay, any nays or abstentions? Okay, I'm going to record myself as an abstention, just awaiting hearing some more information from Commissioner Kern. So that is 8 in favor, 1 abstention. moving on to agenda item BL 2020-235, Mendez, Henderson, and others. Let's see, this was approved by the Budget and Finance Committee without much discussion. So Councilman Mendez has here a letter to approve. It amends Metro, but hang on, Councilman O'Connell, amends Metro Code Section 2.62040F and Metro Code Section 12.56170 to increase special event permit fees. Prior to a motion, colleagues, this is one that, given how full our agenda was last time, I encouraged a deferral because there had been some expression of concern about the implications for this down at the neighborhood level, and basically just to our our process and our fees from an equity standpoint, wanting neighborhoods to be able to have the bike rodeo, close down the street, and kind of keep it simple and not make it too onerous a process. I certainly understand that staff has done some good work on this. That said, subsequent to last committee, I had been invited to send an additional round of questions, but I have not done so, and so with that, I was going to move to defer an additional meeting because I think, as we learned last time, the net impact to this change would be not very significant as far as requiring its passage immediately. And so I would like to make a motion to defer this one meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of a one meeting deferral?
Aye.
Okay. I would encourage you all, please do look at your analysis on this. And if you do have any questions about this or our special event permit fees and how those work, would you please send those questions to Elise Waller, and she will compile those and get those to Ms. Wallstrom and her colleague in Public Works. So with apologies to staff on that, we appreciate an additional one meeting deferral so that we can address that fully. Okay, let's see. So I guess I didn't look to see if anybody was a nay or abstention on the deferral motion. It looks like everybody's in favor. That's a one meeting deferral, 9 in favor, 0 against. Okay, moving on, BL 2020-236, Sledge, amends the Metro Code of Laws regarding work time restrictions for grading. I see that we have a substitute. Let's see. Is Sledge present in the meeting?
Chair, I'm here, yes.
Thank you, Councilman Sledge. Are you, by way of kind of being helpful to us on what we want our motion to be, would you intend to move the substitute at this time in committee for our consideration?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there a motion to move the substitute? In a second. Okay, thank you. Councilman Sledge, can you please describe the substitute for us? Give us a brief information about the bill, please.
Sure, absolutely. So the substitute effectively moves the bill itself from Title 15 to Title 16. So it moves it from the purview of the Water Department to the Codes Department. And this was in consultation with both Metro Water and Codes. So that's why the substitute is before you. The bill contents are basically exactly the same, and what the substitute in bill does is brings grading permits into the same requirements we have. I should say grading permits that are on or adjacent to residential property, into the same requirements we have for building permits, namely two big items. One, that there's not work to be done on Sundays, which is not explicit in our grading permits that we have now. And two, require the same signage that we worked on last term. Councilmember Murphy led this legislation where you see the red and white signs that say, hey, there's no work on Sundays, this is the hours work, here's the contract. Permit holder. We don't require any of that for grading permits. So this bill would require that same notice to be posted. And in consultation with water and codes, water had brought up some concerns about enforcement, and essentially all those enforcement concerns could be allayed by putting it into Title 16 and putting it under the codes department purview. That substitute was also given to the codes director. My initial conversation with him was Director Herbert was very much comfortable with doing that enforcement in the same way that they do the building permit enforcement. And he has been provided a copy of this substitute.
Okay, I appreciate that explanation, Councilman Sledge. I think we all acknowledge that grading work is very significant on-site work. It's equally loud to construction. Metro already has an ordinance with no construction on Sunday. I think pretty much everybody on council would acknowledge that is not being heeded. In fact, there was very dramatic footage yesterday of several gentlemen on top of a roof working on a home on Sunday evening, doing roofing in the middle of our storm event that is video proof that there's a lot of construction work going on Sunday. So I appreciate that you're trying to get these two things aligned, residential grading and construction. And I would just say from my end, I would think that we all also want to kind of work on the ability to enforce these no work on Sunday provisions, which I understand from a lot of constituents has been very challenging. So I appreciate you bringing the legislation. Let's see. Mr. Cooper, we have moved the substitute. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So do we need to make separate motions to vote for the substitute and then additionally to support the bill as substituted? Or so is I guess at this time, if anyone has questions on the substitute, the motion to substitute the bill, if you would raise your hand to be acknowledged. Okay, seeing none. Mr. Cooper, what is the order of operations here? Can we move them all at once, or
we'll take a vote on the substitute and then have the bill as substituted moved, and we can vote on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, colleagues, this is on the motion to substitute the legislation per Councilman Sledge's description. All in favor of the substitute?
Aye.
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 All right, any wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or an abstention, click your raise hand button. Okay, seeing none, okay, the bill is now substituted. And so now I would entertain a motion to approve the bill as substituted.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor of BL 2020-236 from Councilman Sledge as substituted? Aye.
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 Anyone wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or an abstention? Okay, seeing none. Councilman Sledge, your bill is recommended for approval by the Public Works Committee as substituted. Thank you for being present on the call. Thank you. Okay, colleagues, moving ahead on our agenda, BL 2020 279, Syracuse, Murphy, and others, renames a portion of Old Elm Hill Pike between McGavick Pike and Ermac Drive to Century Way. colleagues, I just wanted you to be aware from an analysis perspective and also for emails coming from our historic commission and that division. It used to be that we were not seeing these reports about street renamings until third reading, because those were going to the planning committee also, and they were hearing these bills prior to third. But so new now is that those are coming to us when they're on second reading for our consideration as well on the renaming. And so with that, and just bringing your attention to the email from the Historic Commission about this portion of Old Elm Hill Pike, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. So let's see. Do we have Councilman Syracuse?
Yes.
Are you present? You're acknowledged.
I am here. Thank you, Madam Chair, and greetings from the council chamber. Here I am all by my lonesome.
I'm back here in the office. Okay.
I actually need to indefinitely defer this, and and the reason is because this whole area is called Century Way, basically. And even though like the Marriott Hotel is near there, and there's Marriott Drive, since all that was put in place, it's called Century City is what the area is called, the business community there. And since that was all put in place, we are not allowed anymore to name streets after businesses. So I goofed when Public Works asked me to come up with a name for this short little stretch, and I said, well, just call it the area that it is. However, I will leave you in nail-biting suspense about what the new name is going to be. So with that, I need to ask for an indefinite deferral to this one, and a new bill will be drafted soon.
Okay, so we're going to let the motion to approve fall away or be superseded. Do I have a motion from a committee member for an indefinite deferral, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the indefinite deferral?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 9 in favor, 0 against. Seeing none wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or abstention. Councilman Syracuse, we will wait with bated breath for the new name that you will come up for this segment of road in your district. So thank you for being present on the call. We appreciate you. Okay, colleagues, now we're moving to bills on second reading for consent, okay? So you can see them in front of you here in the WebEx call on the agenda. I will read them into the record. And then once I have read them, if there is anyone wanting to remove a bill from consent so that it can be discussed, please let me know. Okay. BL 2020-280, O'Connell, Murphy, and Henderson authorizes AEG MGM Nashville LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground and aerial encroachments in the right-of-way of 913 Church Street. BL 2020-281 accepts new public sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located north of Burkett Place Drive and east of Nolensville Pike in Williamson County, also known as Burkett Commons Phase 2. BL 2020-282, Bradford, Murphy, and Henderson abandons existing public water main and easements for property located at 1 Terminal Drive. And then BL 2020-283, Van Reese, Murphy, and Henderson abandons existing public water main and to accept new public water main and fire hydrant assembly for property located at 600 Creative Way. BL 2020-284, Gamble, Murphy, and Henderson negotiates and accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Dale Mere Drive Stormwater Improvement Project for 5 properties located at 1334, 1335, 1328, and 1338 Dale Mere Drive and 4101 Dale Mere Court. And that concludes our agenda, or rather the items on consent. Is there anyone wishing to remove an item from consent?
Excuse me, Chair, it's Nancy Van Rees.
Yes, Council Lady Reese. Van Reese, do you wish to remove your item from consent?
I am pleased to keep it on the agenda. I just, since I was here, I wanted to offer my support to Mr. Syracuse. If he needs any help with changing street names, just let him know I'm here for him. So
it should be due west.
Due west, yeah. I saw Council Lady Van Rees, Creative Way in there, and I know that was one of your renamings previously. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, that item will remain on consent. Anyone else wishing to be acknowledged to remove an item from consent? Councilman O'Connell, if we could, I think I'm going to remove 280 from consent solely just so perhaps you can just give us an explanation of that and kind of that project. I know that's a very large project facing a lot of our public streets, and so I'm going to request that be moved consent, but just that's to just afford you the opportunity to share anything about that, or staff to tell us kind of what will be facing Church Street. Okay, so colleagues, on consent at present then is 281, 282, 283, and 284. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of the items on consent, say aye.
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 Okay, anyone wishing to be acknowledged as a nay or abstention on the consent items? Okay, seeing none. With that, then we go back to BL 2020-280. O'Connell, Murphy, and Henderson authorizes AEG MGM Nashville LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground and aerial encroachments in the right-of-way at 913 Church Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second. Councilman O'Connell, can you share with us just kind of about that project? I know it's a big multi-block project. It's got lots of signage facing and a lot of things going on in your district. Anything you want to share about that before I inquire with staff as to what is specifically facing on the Church Street side? Okay, not seeing Councilman O'Connell wanting to be recognized. Is there anyone with Public Works staff that can explain that bill just in a little bit more detail, please? Okay, who is here from Public Works staff to speak to this bill? 280.
Devin, do you have information on that? This is Sharon.
Mr. Doyle, I see that you're dialing in by phone. Ms. Judd, if Mr. Doyle is unable to unmute himself, I know that's sometimes a concern for folks who are dialing in. Could you unmute Mr. Doyle from the Public Works Department to speak to this bill, please? Ms. Judd, can you unmute Mr. Doyle to speak to this bill?
Council Lady Henderson.
Yes, sir, Mr. Honeysucker.
Hey, this is John Honeysucker. I have Devin Doyle on the phone. He's having some technical difficulty. He's trying to acknowledge your question. Devin, is it working yet? He's having difficulty. He's trying to mute, connect in, and it's not allowing him to speak. He dialed in.
Okay, I appreciate that. Ms. Judd, as the host from ITS, can you unmute Mr. Doyle to acknowledge him? Okay. Councilman O'Connell, are you still on the call?
The councilman can call me on my cell phone to help with the technical difficulties. I can email that to you if that would be helpful.
I think why don't we just defer this one meeting? Is there any objection to a one meeting deferral so we can get more information about this? Mr. Honeysucker, I see your hand is raised again. And are you wanting to be the relay between Mr. Doyle?
I can put it on speaker. He asked me, I'd like to put him on speaker to see if you can hear him on this.
Sure, that's audible. Give it a try.
Hey, Lady Henderson, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Doyle. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My apologies. I have no power, so I'm calling in through the WebEx app, and apparently it's not letting me unmute. I can only hear the audio. So this encroachment will allow the AEG MGM building to basically provide a continuous pedestrian access to the Church Street Viaduct. The right-of-way line actually extends beyond the edge of the bridge structure itself. So there's physically a gap between the building and the bridge structure, but they are trying to provide pedestrian accessibility from the building, not only to Lower 10th Avenue and the lower yards portion of the development, but also to the Church Street Viaduct, so that pedestrians can enter the complex via Church Street. And so the only way that they can make the physical connection between their building and the bridge structure itself is to aerially connect to the bridge, if you can visualize what I'm talking about. And so basically they will be creating a very wide, pedestrian-friendly, continuous path of travel along the frontage of their building where it interfaces with the Church Street Viaduct.
Okay, I appreciate that explanation. Can you share with us, and if in addition to that, we're going to see any improvement of the sidewalk along the Church Street Viaduct? Will that be getting any wider?
That's effectively what they're doing, at least along their building frontage. And their building frontage connects with the Upper 10th construction that was approved a few years back, and then it will eventually tie into. They're basically widening the sidewalk, but the only way they can widen the sidewalk is because it's a bridge. You can't widen the sidewalk on a bridge, so they're building the sidewalk structure cantilevered from their building, and this will continue on through the Nashville Yards development along the Church Street Viaduct.
Great. That's really good to hear. I appreciate you being present on the call and everybody's patience with the technical difficulties. Mr. Honeysucker, thank you for helping Mr. Doyle on the technical workaround. Councilman O'Connell, that's a great description of that project. Would you like to be acknowledged? That's in your district. Anything else that you would like to? We still have a motion to approve now that we've had an explanation. Councilman O'Connell, anything to share?
Yeah, I support this, and I encourage people to vote for it.
Great. Good to hear. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any abstentions or anybody voting nay? Okay. Seeing none, we recommend approval. 9 in favor, 0 against. Okay, and with that, colleagues, we have gotten to the end of our agenda. And is anybody else seeking to be acknowledged for matters particular to the Public Works Department or the Water Department? Council Lady Allen, you are recognized. Council Lady Allen, are you unmuted?
I think I'm muted instead of unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. There's a bill on public hearing that deals with concrete aprons to prevent gravel from rushing into the street. And I just want to request before it's too late to amend it that we also throw in pavers there. So just wanted to acknowledge with you publicly that that's a refinement that I would like to make to that. And I think it might have to happen on second reading, and so it might need to be deferred so we could do that. Or can Mr. Cooper speak to that?
Fair point, absolutely, Council Lady Allen. I appreciate you mentioning that. That is indeed my bill, and we do have a substitute, and that is within the purview of the Public Works Committee. And in fact, we are working to substitute the bill so that it's really under the umbrella of Public Works. It started out kind of in stormwater. Councilman, or rather, Mr. Cooper, can you share why that's not on our agenda?
I cannot. I don't do the committee referrals, probably because at the time the bill was filed, it wasn't in the public works section of the code, but it can certainly be referred to the committee tomorrow night.
Okay, so I guess kind of by order of operations, the substitute, colleagues, is pretty significant. This bill was filed by accident ahead of it being finalized. Just a little kind of quirk or accident with staff. So the substitute's quite significant. It only applies obviously to new driveways, and Council Lady Allen, per our code, hard surface does not mean concrete or asphalt. It can indeed be pavers or brick. Basically, as Mr. Doyle has shared, it is a dustless surface. So we're not wanting to have loose gravel within the public right-of-way that can be washed away by stormwater or otherwise. So the substitute absolutely does address your concern. Great. And so, Mr. Cooper, can kind of help me understand order of operations? This is on public hearing. My intent, Council Lady Allen, was to move the substitute at tomorrow's meeting and then defer the public hearing because I certainly understand our constituents, seeing anything, a bill related to driveways and so forth will have an interest. And I just did, at present, I was not wanting to bring, frankly, much attention to the bill because, again, it was kind of filed ahead of readiness. And I thought it would be better for the discussion to be happening on the substitute. So with that, Mr. Cooper, the committee, knowing it, is my intent to move a substitute and defer. What would you suggest for purposes of our committee, or just kind of order of operations?
I think just tomorrow night you can move the substitute and then move to defer the bill as substituted to the next public hearing with a referral to Public Works Committee.
Okay, all right. I concur with that. Anybody else wishing to be recognized? Thank you, Council Lady Allen. I did not have that on our report and frankly kind of forgotten about that being on second. So I appreciate you raising that.
That's good. No, I think that's a good plan. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to be acknowledged? Okay, with that, we will call the Public Works Committee to a close. Thank you, colleagues.